Okay, welcome, and now we would start and add new books and actually save that data. To save that data, we would use local storage, and that's a browser API. What I told you in the previous videos, I think in one of them I told you that we would have to use a local storage mock to make this work in Jest, and that's what I did before. But right now I've experimented with it and I see that it works even without mocking local storage. So I don't know, it's probably a new version of Jest. But before it was giving me an error. So right now we can do this even without a mock. So we will not cover the topic of mocks in here. Okay, I'm gonna discard any changes. All of this will be available in lesson 6 on a branch in GitHub. So to handle all of this data, I would create a separate class set. Let's call the separate class DataManager.js. So that DataManager.js, let's just call it class DataManager. It won't do much right now. So export, export DataManager. An empty class right now, but we'll create tests for it, and that test, it will be called DataManager test.js. No surprises in here, and we would import this. Let's actually make this a default export, so I wouldn't have to use curly braces in here. So from DataManager. So inside of that, we would test. Well, first, what we need. What would our DataManager do? It would put new things in local storage and we'll get it from them, and it will also delete, and yes, it would need an edit. So basically what you will hear is there is such a term as CRUD. When you're creating content management system, it has a create, edit, and delete, and that will be like a simple version of that. So let's start with getting. So DataManager gets books. First of all, we would create a new instance of that. Let's call DataManager. We would create an instance of our class, so new DataManager. And we would use DataManager Get Books. And let's call it, let's put it in a variable, const books. What we'll now get, we'll get an error because there is no such method as get books on DataManager. It's not a function. You cannot put... Therefore, you cannot put this parenthesis next to it. So to fix this flaw in our code, all we need to do is make this. Okay, I have caps lock get books. So just adding this line fixes it. I will sort of mix this. I will write code and then test, and all I would do it like this. It's called TDD. First you write tests and it failed, and you fix it with a simple thing, and you go further. So now all of our tests passed, and we wrote a little bit of code, but didn't do much. Our code doesn't do much yet. But what we expect it to be, we expect our book's length to be 0. So first of all, we expect that it has a length property on it. We also expect that the length property is a 0. And it won't have a length property on it because getBooks doesn't return us anything yet. And it can read property lengths of undefined. To fix that, what do? So to fix this, what we should do is, we would to set items in local storage. You use this set item and you store them under key. You have key and you have value, so it's sort of like an object in JavaScript itself. You can see it in application tab in your developer tools. You go to local storage and you have here key and value. So in our case, key would be books and value would be an array of data, and that array of data would be in stringified version because that's how local storage keeps this data. The point that I have a separate method for it at all, because when you get local storage, you have to JSON parse it because it's stringified, and sometimes it might return you null if it's not set. So you cannot JSON parse null, at least not that I think of. Can you JSON parse null? I don't think so. Yeah, it gives you, oh no. JSON parse null. Can you do that? Yeah, it can. Gives you a null. But I don't want a null value. I don't want to get null value. So what I want to do here, so if local storage, so what we can do here actually is real simple. If we can do that, we can do local storage get item books, or if it's null, if it gives you null, then I would just return an empty array. That's the whole gist of it. That should make our test pass. Okay, so this is very simple, and in the next video we will look at adding new books, and also then we will look at submitting new books via and test it with React Testing Library.